Let's look at relative momentum, let's look at absolute momentum, and then decide which one is better for traders. Relative momentum is a way to rank stocks by momentum. So IBD has popularized relative momentum when they rank stocks by relative strength, and they say stocks with 99 relative strength are outperforming rest of the 99% of the stock. And it's very popular way of doing relative momentum. And you can create a similar relative momentum for any time period, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year period. So if you want to create a relative momentum, all that you use is some sort of a momentum criteria and rank stock by that momentum criteria. So let me say you a simple 3 months relative momentum in TC2000, and then once we understand relative momentum, we'll see absolute momentum, and when we see absolute momentum, we can compare and contrast and see advantages of using absolute momentum. If you are a trader, try and use absolute momentum. Absolute momentum will tell you where the momentum started. Relative momentum is only going to tell you relative to other stock where this stock is performing. Absolute momentum will allow you to make better trading decisions. So let's look at this topic a little bit more in detail. And again, for that, we'll go to TC2000. So let's go to TC2000. And when we are in TC2000, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a universe of stocks, and this is a list of stocks, supposing, and I want to basically sort them or rank them by a relative momentum of 3 months. So let's put a column here, add value column, and I'm just going to write a formula which is the 3 months momentum, average C7 divided by average C65. And if you don't understand this, go to my video which I did a couple of days ago talking about momentum, where I talked about 3 months, 6 months, 1 year momentum. That video I will link at the end of the description. If you look at the description, there will be a link to that video in this particular thing. So let's look at basically, this is the sort criteria which we put in, and we'll call this 3 months momentum. Right now, when I rank stock by this momentum, this is the number 1 ranked stock, this is the number 2 ranked stock. So that's relative momentum relative to all the other stocks in the universe of stocks list of 3231. This is number 1 ranked, this is number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on and so forth, right? So relative ranking, similarly, if you want to create a relative momentum of 6 months, you can just add a column here and write a formula saying, look, at C divided by average C 126, which is a 6 months momentum. And again, we'll call this 6 months momentum. And if I rank stocks by 6 months momentum, then I find that this particular stock is ranked number 1 by 6 months momentum, or this one is ranked number 2, number 3, and so on and so forth, right? Now, relative momentum on a particular stock like this, or even if you look at by ranking, it doesn't tell you where this momentum started, right? It only tells you that this stock is outperforming other stock. But absolute momentum will tell you where exactly this momentum started. This is a 6 months absolute momentum which is plotted on this particular stock. So the day this condition was met, or the day it entered momentum, you can find out here. If you can find that out, you know whether this momentum is young or old momentum, how long it has been going up, how many days it has been in a momentum phase. Can you tell me, using relative momentum, how long this momentum started or where this momentum started? And do you want to be finding stocks after they have made their move and reached a very high momentum rank, or do you want to find momentum stocks when they have gained momentum and you want to get in at the beginning of the momentum? So that's the difference between relative momentum and absolute momentum. Absolute momentum will allow you to find these stocks when the momentum has started. Then you can find and enter them here. Relative momentum is just going to give you a ranking of stocks. And let's say, assume that there is a big bearish market, right? There's a bearish market. Every stock is going down. Every stock is going down. And when every stock is going down, if I use 3 months relative momentum, there will be still stocks which will show high relative momentum. They are going down, but they are going down less than the stocks which have gone down a lot. Tell me, how useful is that relative momentum when all stocks are going down and you have a stock which has a relative momentum? It doesn't give you an idea. While an absolute momentum like this kind of a 3 months momentum will only be positive if the stock is going up. So there's lot of advantage to using absolute momentum. And when you look at a lot of things, you will see that they use, or a lot of traders' methods, when you look at them, they use absolute momentum. One of the very popular trader currently, Mark Minervini, and he has a trend template. Now, if you study the trend template, it has series of absolute momentum criteria. It doesn't use relative momentum. It uses absolute momentum. And that is why Mark can find stocks which are setting up before they enter into a next momentum phase. If he was using relative momentum, he may not be able to find those stocks. So if you are using relative momentum and you have been using relative momentum, time to rethink. Start using absolute momentum. Absolute momentum will tell you where a momentum has started. It will tell you how long this momentum has been going on. Absolute momentum will allow you to find stocks which have young momentum, because you want to find stocks which have just started out and entered momentum phase. That will allow you to enter them early. If you can enter them early, potentially you can hold them for longer period. If you use relative momentum, many times you are getting into a stocks which are already at the peak of their momentum cycle. So do you want to make money using momentum? Try and use absolute momentum along with relative momentum.